Page 90, he's got the whole world in his hands. This piece uses the primary chords of 3 different keys. See at the beginning it's got 1 sharp, it's in G major. So we're going to use these primary chords. The 1 chord for G major, 4 chord, 5/7 chord, 1 chord. And go down to the bottom of page 90. Then we go into C major, no sharps or flats, and we use those primary chords. 1 chord, 4 chord, 5/7 chord, 1 chord. Then on page 91, 3rd line down, now we go into F major, 1 flat, and the primary chords for F major. 1, 4, 5/7, 1. This is a good review. I like this. It also gives a good example of how a piece of music can change key signatures in the music, because that can happen any number of times whenever they want. The only kicker is it has to happen at a bar line. That's it. In this piece, it's happening at section breaks. You see at the 3rd line down at the end of the line on page 90, the double bars, that's a section break. And over on page 91, the end of the 2nd line is another section break. Now don't get confused with this. Don't read more into it than there. It's not a section break because we're changing key signatures. They're not related. It just happens to happen here. We're changing key signatures at a section break. It can do that, but it doesn't have to do that, is what I'm saying. So I could change key signatures anywhere. Not just at a section break. And I don't have to have the double bars because I changed key signatures, because the double bars doesn't mean you're changing key signatures. It means there's another section coming. It's the end of a section. So let's look at this more closely. 4/4 time, and it has a beat and a half pickup. So we're coming in on the end of 3. 3 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. And then the rhythm, if you'll just do the 1 and 2 and, you'll be able to get this fine. There's a bunch of tied notes in here because they got a bunch of syncopation going on. Let's look at the 1st line there on page 90. Let's skip the pickup measure. Let's just do the 2 whole measures. We got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See that G's tied? You're going to hang on to it to 4. You don't play it again. Next measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's got ties. And it's a little weird because you're playing on the and of the beat, not on the beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Ooh, a lot of ands going on. And again, you can temporarily take out the tie if it'll help you. Some people it does, some people it confuses them. But that set last measure of the 1st line without the tie, 1 and 2 and 3. You can play them all, but eventually you want to put the tie back in. You think playing the note, you're just hanging on to the 1st note. 2nd line, same thing. 1st measure, watch the fingering. 3, 4. I'll talk about the fingering more in a minute. Now skip the fingering, just get the rhythm. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now if you can get this rhythm in these few little measures, you've got it, because it's the same rhythm throughout. So work out the rhythm very carefully. It helps a little bit that the left hand is playing quarter notes, because it's going to play on the beat. And you can tell in looking at the music between the 2 staves and the notes line up, when the right hand is playing in between the quarter notes and the left hand, it's playing on an and. So look at the, well, let's go down to the 3rd line on page 90. Here, and with the left hand chords, they're playing together, and then the right hand has the E. The left hand isn't playing yet. Now the left hand plays. Then the right hand plays, and the right hand's tied, so the left hand plays that chord by itself, well, it's hanging on, and then the right hand can play. So it's 1 and. It's a ba 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 ba. But work that out really, really, really slowly, and you'll get it. Now the last measure on the 3rd line. In the left hand, it's 1 and 2 and rest. There is an 8th rest there before you go on to the next, is what I'm saying. So if I play that measure and go on, it's here. 1 and 2 and rest. See, there's a half a beat of silence in there, and then we go on. And that's the rhythm throughout. You just keep going on. Now I want to talk about the fingering in the right hand. You're starting out in this position because you're starting a 4th finger here, but if you look at the next measure, the thumb plays the G. So here, and then in the next line you have a 3-4, 2-1. If you don't want to put the thumb on that black key, then you're going to have to go, you can go 3, 4, and then reach the 3 down and go 3, 2. Here, that's okay if you want to do that. And then it's the end of a phrase, so you can lift up and move. Because you're going to lift up between each phrase, I hope. Then in the 3rd line, 2nd measure, it's 4, 5 on those Ds. 4, 5. I like the idea of using different fingers on repeated notes like that, so I'm all for that, yes. You're ending the 3rd line with the thumb, and you have a half beat rest, and during that rest you're going to move into position. And this is basically the same fingering as you just had, except now you're in C position. And the difference would be at the top of page 91, that first measure. Here you can finger it like they're doing it because there's no black key involved. Here, 3, 4. So that works out okay. 2nd line on page 91, 2nd measure, 4, 5 again. It's the same fingering you had before. And now you're ending on a thumb with a half a beat rest, and then you're going to use that half a beat to move up here to C. And we do the whole thing again. Then in the 4th line down on page 91, 3, 4, remember the B flat? I like that. That's fine, just the way it is. And then the last line. 2nd measure, it's a 4, 2. And then a 2, 5. And then a 1, 5. Now I'm going to hold those fermata notes 4 counts instead of 2 because I'm going to do this with a metronome. With the left hand, you got the primary chords in each of the keys, except for the one measure where the rhythm changes. You're playing quarter notes. So just watch that and you'll be okay. Dynamics, well, they're saying MF at the beginning. That's the melody. That's what we want to hear. Don't play them the same. Don't, please. Play the left hand soft. Keep the left hand down. Now when you get to the bottom of the page, now it's soft in that line. You're going to stay soft for then you get over to page 91, 3rd line down. When you go into F major, now you're loud. This is louder than it was at the beginning. So forth, and you're going to stay loud throughout the end. Last line, last few measures, you have that retardando. So if you're not playing with a metronome, you can slow down. It's here. 1, 2, and you keep slowing down. Even with these, you just slow down your count. Keep slowing down your count until, and then you let up. Now they have a little bit of pedaling at the end. I'm not going to bother to show it. It's just legato pedal. You push the pedal down right after you play the notes, and you change the pedal each time after you play the chords. And at the end, the pedal and the hands all come up at the same time. No big deal. If you could do it without pedal, it's just fine. But if you want to use pedal, go for it. I'd like to play this slowly with you, and just so you can check your notes and rhythms. Play it one hand at a time if you have to. The left hand should not be causing a problem, I'm hoping. As long as you can get the movements, the hand movements worked out, so the beat just keeps going. And that usually happens between the key signature changes, but the left hand isn't playing right there. You only have to deal with the right hand at first, and then you can get the left hand in place. For instance, at the end of the third line there on page 90, you're here, and then the right hand's going to play first, so get the right hand where it goes, and then as it's playing its thing, you can move the left hand down where it goes. And the same thing on 91, so you can move this one hand at a time. So I'm going to give us 3.5 counts. I'm going to go 1 and 2 and go, and like so. Now there is a style in this piece where you can swing the eighth notes if you want. So instead of playing them even, you could do this. That's an interpretive thing. You're welcome to do that if you'd like. For the play with me, I'm going to keep them even because I want to focus on this rhythm. You got to get this rhythm correct before you start altering anything. So go ahead and put your hands in G position with a go, and we'll begin slowly. 1 and 2 and go. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Rest. Two, 3, 4, hold 2, 1, 2, hold 2, off.